Maya Richardson, 28-year-old black waitress, stands frozen beside table 12. White billionaire mathematician Dr. Vincent Harlow just accused her of intellectual theft after overhearing her quietly correcting an error in his Millennium Prize problem proof. His 12 colleagues stare. He threatens to have her arrested for corporate espionage, claiming someone planted her to steal his work. Security approaches. The restaurant goes silent. Maya's hands tremble, holding the coffee pot. This moment will either destroy her completely or change mathematics forever. She makes her choice. The words leave Maya's mouth before fear can stop them. "I'm not a spy. I just heard a mistake." The security guards flank her on both sides, their hands near their belts, their expressions already convinced of her guilt. Dr. Vincent Harlow rises from his seat, all 6 feet 3 inches of him, his $10,000 suit catching the soft restaurant lighting like armor. Maya stands there in her coffee-stained apron, her minimum wage reality written across every thread of her uniform. Around the restaurant, customers pull out their phones. This is content. This is entertainment. This is a black woman about to get what's coming to her. The restaurant manager, Mr. Gerald Kopech, rushes over, his face already arranged in an expression of apology directed entirely at Harlow. "Sir, I am so sorry. Whatever this employee has done, we will handle it immediately." He doesn't even look at Maya, doesn't ask her side. The customer is always right, especially when the customer is white and rich and male. As the security guards gesture for her to move toward the back office, Maya's mind fractures between present and past. 6 years ago, she was someone else entirely. MIT graduate student, full scholarship, her thesis on algebraic topology drawing attention from professors across the country. Her dissertation advisor, Dr. Patricia Chen, told her she would revolutionize the field. "You see connections nobody else sees, Maya. You're going to change mathematics." But then her mother got sick. Cancer. Aggressive and merciless. No insurance because her mother had been working 3 part-time jobs that classified her as an independent contractor for all of them. The medical bills came like a tsunami, drowning everything. Maya dropped out to work. 1 job became 2, became 3. She told herself it was temporary. She told herself she'd go back. Dr. Chen tried to help, offered to pay for 1 semester, find her grants, anything. But pride and desperation are a toxic combination. Maya disappeared from academia. She specifically mentioned non-commutative geometry incompatibility. Only someone with advanced mathematical training would know those terms. Therefore, she must be a corporate spy, planted by rival mathematicians at Princeton or Cambridge or one of the European institutions. He leans forward, his eyes cold. "I demand she be fired immediately and criminally investigated for corporate espionage and attempted intellectual property theft." Mr. Kopech nods along like a dashboard ornament. "Of course, Dr. Harlow. Maya, you're fired effective immediately. Well, need you to leave the premises." Still, he hasn't asked her anything, hasn't given her a chance to speak. But something in Maya snaps. It's not dramatic. It's not loud. It's the quiet sound of 6 years of being invisible, finally becoming unbearable. 6 years of brilliant mind wasted refilling coffee cups. 6 years of racism disguised as "we're looking for someone with more experience," or "you're overqualified for this position," or the suspicious glances when she's the only black woman in spaces where wealthy white people dine and decide who belongs. She speaks, and her voice is calm. "I wasn't spying. I simply heard an error. A significant one. In your proof." The temperature in the room drops 10 degrees. Harlow's face begins to redden from the collar up. His colleagues, who have been standing in the doorway watching this drama unfold, shift uncomfortably. "How dare you?" Harlow says, and there's genuine shock in his voice. "How dare a waitress question my work? How dare a black waitress?" Though he doesn't say that part. He doesn't have to. Maya pulls out her phone. The screen is cracked because she can't afford to replace it. She opens her notes app where she works through equations during her breaks, during the bus rides between jobs, during the sleepless 3 a.m. hours when mathematics is the only thing that makes sense. She'd been working through her own approach to Kaufman-Reynolds for years. On napkins, on phone screens, in the margins of discarded newspapers. She finds what she's looking for and shows the photo to the room. Your proof assumes commutativity in a non-commutative ring structure. Here, this section. You treat the tensor product as if order doesn't matter. But in this geometry, order is everything. Your entire conclusion collapses from this single error. The restaurant manager doesn't understand what any of this means, but Harlow's colleagues do. They crowd around Maya's phone, squinting at her notes. One of them, a Korean woman in her 40s named Dr. Sarah Kim, gasps audibly. She looks from the phone to Harlow to the phone again. "Vincent," she says slowly. "She's right. Oh my God, she's actually right." The moment of recognition lasts exactly 3 seconds before Vincent Harlow explodes. This is absurd. She obviously stole preliminary notes from somewhere, hacked my cloud storage, or bribed someone on my research team. His voice rises, filling the small office. "She's running a con, can't you see that?" His colleagues exchange glances, uncertain now. The manager looks desperate to restore order, to make the rich customer happy again. But Harlow isn't finished. He turns to Maya, and the mask of academic civility cracks completely. "People like you," he says. And those 3 words carry centuries of weight. People like you are always trying to take credit for others' work. This is exactly what affirmative action creates. People who didn't earn their way, trying to steal from those who did. You probably didn't even really go to MIT. Probably lied on your application or got in through diversity quotas. His colleagues look horrified now, but nobody stops him. Classic bystander effect in racial confrontation. Everyone recognizes it's wrong, but intervening means conflict, means taking sides, means risk. So they watch. The manager tries to de-escalate by siding with power. "Dr. Harlow, please, let me comp your entire meal." "Maya, you need to leave now." "I'm so sorry this happened, sir." Dr. Sarah Kim finds her voice. "Wait. Just wait." She looks at Maya. Really looks at her for the first time. "What's your background? Where did you study?" Maya is exhausted. Exhausted from the shift, from 6 years of this, from holding her brilliance inside like a secret shame. She has nothing left to lose. "Emmett, I was a graduate student. I studied under Dr. Patricia Chen. I published 2 papers in the Annals of Mathematics before I dropped out." Sarah pulls out her phone immediately. Searches academic databases with practiced efficiency. Her expression changes as she finds what she's looking for. Maya Richardson. 2 papers on topological invariance, cited 47 times. Promising young researcher. Then, nothing. You disappeared. Sarah's face shifts from skepticism to recognition to dawning horror as she understands what she's witnessing. A genius lost to America's broken healthcare system. Its economic brutality. Its systematic crushing of brilliance that comes in the wrong color. Now serving coffee, Vincent Harlow is cornered, and cornered animals attack. "Fine. Fine. If you're so brilliant, prove it." His arrogance and racial prejudice combine into a fatal mistake. "I'll give you 1 week to solve a problem. I'll prepare. Something impossible for anyone except elite mathematicians with institutional support, resources, computer modeling. If you solve it," he says with theatrical magnanimity, "I'll publicly acknowledge your correction of my proof and give you $100,000. If you fail, you admit you're a fraud and you disappear. No more accusations. No more drama." The crowd in the restaurant has grown. Everyone has their phones out. This is already uploading to TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. This will be viral within minutes. Maya sees the trap clearly. She has no computer, no library access, no research databases, no academic community, no support structure. She sees all of this. But she also sees the opportunity, the chance to matter again, to be visible, to honor the brilliance her mother sacrificed everything for. She accepts, but she adds her own terms. "When I solve it, and prove your original proof wrong, you fund a full scholarship program for underrepresented students in mathematics. $1 million annually." Harlow laughs. "Has certain shall fail." "Done," he says. "You have 7 days. Well, reconvene here next Friday, same time. Bring your solution. I'll bring the media." The crowd parts as Maya walks toward the exit. She's fired, publicly humiliated, and now committed to an impossible challenge. News vans are already pulling into the parking lot. Someone created a hashtag before she even reaches the door. Number: Waitress vs. Billionaire trends, within the hour. The story gets framed as a diversity feel-good narrative, human interest. David versus Goliath. But nobody actually believes she can win. The comments online are vicious. Racial slurs. Accusations of publicity stunt. Claims she's being manipulated by Harlow's rivals to embarrass him. Assertions that affirmative action created people who don't know their place. Death threats in her direct messages. Crude suggestions about what a black woman should be doing instead of pretending to understand mathematics. Maya walks home through the cold Newport night. It's 11 p.m., and the streets are empty, except for the occasional car. Her apartment is 4 miles away. She can't afford the bus tonight. Not after losing her job. Her feet hurt in the cheap shoes she wears for shifts. Her mind races through the mathematics she'll need, the resources she doesn't have, the impossibility of what she's agreed to do. Her phone rings. Unknown number. She almost doesn't answer, expecting another threat. But something makes her pick up. The voice on the other end is one she hasn't heard in 6 years but would recognize anywhere. Maya. It's me. It's Dr. Patricia Chen. I just saw the video. I've been looking for you for 6 years. Come home. Come back to mathematics. Let me help you win this. They meet at a coffee shop the next morning. Not the fancy Newport place where Maya used to work, but a small Portuguese cafe in South Providence where the coffee costs $2 and nobody cares who you are. Dr. Patricia Chen looks older. Her hair has gone gray at the temples. Lines around her eyes that weren't there 6 years ago. But her eyes still have that sharp intelligence, that way of seeing through problems to their elegant cores. Maya, she says. And there's so much emotion in that one word. I never stopped believing in you. When you disappeared, I tried everything to find you. But you'd changed your number, moved, left no forwarding address. I thought maybe you'd gone to another program. But there was no record. You just vanished. Dr. Chen slides a folder across the table. I can get you access to MIT libraries, computer time, a workspace, everything you need. But Maya hesitates, and the hesitation says everything about the last 6 years. The shame of dropping out lives in her chest like a stone. The shame of failing her potential, of becoming invisible, of proving right everyone who doubted whether she really belonged in those rarefied academic spaces. She tries to explain. My mother died. Despite everything I did, all the jobs, all the hours, all the money, she died anyway. The debt is still there. I'm still paying it off, working double shifts at whatever jobs will hire me. I couldn't come back. I couldn't face you. Doctor, Chen's eyes fill with tears. I know. I found out about your mother 6 months after it happened. I tried to find you then too. But Maya, you need to know something. After you left, several faculty members said privately they always knew you didn't belong. They used coded racist language about cultural fit and academic readiness. Your departure confirmed their biases. I fought them. I'm still fighting them. But I couldn't change the culture alone. That's why you coming back, you winning this, matters more than just mathematics. Maya examines the problem Harlow issued. He posted it publicly on social media, making a spectacle of his challenge. It's a vicious construction involving hyperbolic geometry and algebraic topology. On the surface, it appears impossible without computer modeling and months of collaborative work. But Maya sees something Harlow missed, and seeing it makes her smile for the first time in days. He designed this problem to showcase his own approach, assuming that's the only path. He thinks brute force institutional resources are required, but there's an elegant alternative using techniques from her abandoned thesis, from the work she was doing 6 years ago that nobody except Dr. Chen understood. She explains this to her former advisor. Dr. Chen's eyes light up with recognition. This is vintage Maya. You see connections others miss because you're not constrained by conventional approaches. You never were. That's what made you special. But the work will be brutal. 72 hours of concentrated mathematics minimum. Can you do it? Dr. Chen tries to get Maya temporary library access at MIT. The administration refuses. Maya has unpaid fees from 6 years ago when she left. $4,000 for a partial semester, late fees, administrative charges. They demand payment to restore privileges. Dr. Chen offers to pay. The administrators then claim there are security concerns about allowing former students back without proper vetting. A background check will take 3 weeks. The real reason emerges in coded language from the assistant dean. Several faculty members remember Miss Richardson. They remember the disruption she caused by questioning traditional methodologies. She made some people uncomfortable. We need to ensure that any visiting scholar maintains appropriate professional boundaries. Dr. Chen argues, threatens to go to media, mentions the viral story everyone's seen, but bureaucracy moves with deliberate slowness when it wants to exclude someone. Maya has 6 days left and no access to the resources most mathematicians consider essential. Maya returns to her neighborhood in South Providence. She lives in a small apartment building, 3 stories, old but maintained. Predominantly Black and Latino community. Chain-link fences. Kids playing basketball in the street. Corner store with bulletproof glass. Her neighbors know her as the quiet, smart one who always helps kids with homework, who tutors for free in the community center. She explains her situation to Mrs. Dolores Washington, the building manager, a Black woman in her 70s who's lived in Providence her whole life. Within hours, an organic support network emerges. Mrs. Washington gives her after-hours access to the local library branch where she used to work. Mr. Jamal Foster, the high school math teacher from the school 3 blocks over, loans his personal laptop. The neighborhood church lets her use their community room, the one where they hold AA meetings and youth programs. It's not MIT. It's not institutional resources. It's grassroots and scrappy and held together with donated Wi-Fi and people's belief in her. But it's genuine. People who understand what it means to fight systems designed to exclude you. On day 2 of her 7-day deadline, Maya receives a certified letter. The law firm of Morrison, Hutchins, and Broadwell, representing Dr. Vincent Harlow. Inside is a cease and desist letter, 8 pages of legal language. By accepting his challenge, she entered a binding contract. New terms are added retroactively. She cannot discuss the problem with anyone, cannot seek help from other mathematicians, cannot publish any work related to it without his explicit written permission. Violation of these terms will result in a lawsuit for damages, contractual breach, and theft of intellectual property. The firm has calculated that defending such a suit would cost her approximately $400,000. They know she can't afford a lawyer. They know she can't fight back. It's legal warfare designed to intimidate her into quitting. The viral story takes a dark turn as news outlets report that Maya Richardson might be forced to withdraw from the challenge due to legal pressure. The comments shift. Maybe she was in over her head. Maybe she realized she couldn't actually do it. Maybe the billionaire was right all along. Dr. Sarah Kim can't sleep. She keeps thinking about Maya's correction of Harlow's proof, about the certainty in his reaction, about something that feels wrong beyond the obvious racism. She starts her own investigation at 2 a.m, going through academic databases with forensic attention. She reviews Harlow's original Kaufman-Reynolds proof more carefully, reading every citation, checking every reference. Then, she finds it. The breakthrough idea, the core innovation that makes Harlow's approach work, appears in an unpublished paper from 5 years ago. The paper was written by a graduate student named Marcus Webb from Morehouse College. Marcus presented it at a collaborative workshop Harlow hosted for young mathematicians of color. The workshop was part of Harlow's diversity initiative, his public-facing commitment to inclusion. 3 months after that workshop, Marcus Webb died in a car accident. His research was never published. Harlow's proof using Marcus' key insight emerged 2 years later. No attribution, no acknowledgement, no mention of Marcus Webb anywhere. Sarah contacts Marcus' family through Morehouse's alumni office. His mother, Diane Webb, still lives in Atlanta. She's a retired teacher. She remembers that her son was excited about a revolutionary approach to an important problem. He told her about meeting a famous mathematician who was interested in his work. But when they tried to access Marcus' academic accounts after his death, everything was locked, password protected. The university said they had protocols, needed time, needed authorization. By the time they got access months later, Most of the cloud storage had been deleted. They assumed Marcus had cleaned up old files before his death. They never pursued it because they didn't understand the mathematics. They didn't know what they'd lost. Sarah asks if they have anything of Marcus from that time. Diane says yes. Some notebooks. Papers. She kept everything in boxes in her attic. She never knew what to do with them. Sarah drives to Atlanta that same day. Takes a personal day from her teaching position. The Webb house is modest, well kept, full of photos of Marcus at every age. Diane brings down 3 boxes of her son's belongings. Inside are notebooks filled with dense mathematical notation. Sarah photographs every page. What she finds makes her physically ill. Marcus had worked out the complete approach that appears in Harlow's proof. Every major insight. Every innovative connection. The handwriting is Marcus. The dates are clear. This is original work. Marcus Webb solved a piece of one of mathematics' great puzzles, and Vincent Harlow stole it after Marcus died. Sarah thinks about all the times she sat in meetings with Harlow, listened to him lecture about excellence and rigor and maintaining standards. She thinks about her own silence when she saw him dismiss students of color. When she noticed the pattern of whose ideas he valued and whose he ignored. Shay's complicit. They all are. Sarah brings the evidence to Maya. They meet in the church community room, where Maya has set up her workspace. Notebooks cover the table. Empty coffee cups everywhere. Maya looks exhausted, running on 3 hours of sleep, but her eyes are bright with mathematical focus. Sarah spreads out the photographs of Marcus' notebooks, explains the timeline, shows the correspondence between Marcus' work and Harlow's published proof. Maya stops breathing for a moment. Then she reads through Marcus' notes, and tears start falling. She's not just crying for the injustice. She's crying because Marcus Webb was brilliant. His approach is elegant, insightful, exactly the kind of mathematics that should be celebrated and built upon. And he's dead. And nobody knows. The story gets darker. Marcus' family explains that he was so excited about the collaborative workshop, about the famous mathematician taking interest in his work. But after the workshop, he seemed stressed. Told his roommate that someone had asked for copies of his research, said they wanted to explore it together. He was hopeful. Then he died. The police report said he fell asleep at the wheel driving home late from the library. Single car accident. No other vehicles involved. Maybe it was just a tragic accident. Or maybe Marcus Webb worked himself to death chasing validation from a man who was planning to steal everything. Maya feels sick. She's not just fighting for herself anymore, she's fighting for Marcus. For everyone erased by people like Harlow who steal ideas and gatekeep genius based on race. The stakes become personal and historical. This isn't about one challenge or one proof. It's about a pattern of theft that spans decades. About brilliant black minds contributing to human knowledge and getting erased while white men collect prizes and recognition. She tells Sarah she's going to win, not just for herself. For Marcus. For every black mathematician who got pushed out, stolen from, silenced. Sarah nods. Then we need to document everything. Build a case. Because winning the mathematics won't be enough. We need to expose the whole system. Vincent Harlow holds a press conference at his foundation's headquarters in Cambridge. The building is all glass and steel, prestigious and cold, has dressed impeccably, surrounded by colleagues who vouch for his character. He positions himself as a victim, and he's very good at it. I'm being targeted by activists trying to tear down accomplished scientists. This is about politics, not mathematics. Miss Richardson is part of a larger effort to undermine merit-based evaluation in academia. He mentions his charitable donations, his mentorship of young scholars, his prestigious awards from institutions around the world. He brings character witnesses, fellow white male academics who describe his integrity, his brilliance, his dedication. He never mentions Marcus Webb. When a reporter asks about allegations of stolen work, he dismisses it as conspiracy theory. He says he's considering additional legal action against those spreading defamatory claims. The media narrative shifts in real time. Half the country now sees Maya as an aggressor, an ungrateful troublemaker playing the race card. Comment sections fill with support for Harlow. Finally, someone standing up to cancel culture. This is why we can't have honest discourse anymore. She probably just wants attention and money. The online harassment escalates to terrifying levels. Someone doxes Maya's address. Posted on forums known for coordinating attacks. She receives death threats through email, text, social media. Graphic descriptions of violence, racial slurs, threats of rape, promises that someone will make her pay for disrespecting her betters. She reports it to Providence Police. 2 officers come to take a report. They're polite but dismissive. "Mom, we can't do anything unless there's a credible imminent danger. Has anyone shown up at your house?" "No?" "Then it's just internet talk. People say things online they don't mean. You're in the public eye now. It comes with the territory." One officer, a white man in his 40s, adds helpfully, "Maybe if you just dropped this whole thing, people would leave you alone. You're making yourself a target." The implication is clear. This is her fault. She should be silent. She should disappear. That's how you stay safe when you're black in America. Don't challenge power. Don't make waves. Accept your place. Despite everything, Maya keeps working. She's down to 4 days until the deadline. The problem is yielding to her approach, slowly revealing its structure like a puzzle box opening one piece at a time. She works 18-hour days in the church community room. Neighbors bring food. Someone sets up a small coffee maker. Kids stop by after school to watch her fill notebooks with symbols they don't understand, but find magical. They ask questions. "What's that squiggly thing? Why do you need so many numbers? Are you going to be famous?" Maya explains mathematics as art, as language, as a way of understanding the deep patterns that govern reality. The kids listen like she's telling them about superpowers. Maybe she is, Mrs. Washington visits every evening, brings dinner, makes sure Maya eats. She tells stories about her own son, brilliant engineer. Never got opportunities because he was black in the 1960s. Worked at a factory his whole life fixing machines, inventing improvements they never credited him for. Died at 52, never fulfilling his potential. "Don't you dare let them silence you," Mrs. Washington says fiercely. "You're carrying all of us with you. Every black person who got told they weren't good enough. Every mind that got wasted. You win this, baby. You win for all of us." On day 4, Maya returns to her apartment at midnight to sleep for a few hours. She's been at the church for 20 hours straight. Her eyes burn. Her back aches. Her mind is still full of mathematics. Equations continuing to evolve even as she climbs the stairs to her 3rd-floor unit. She unlocks her door. Steps inside. Knows immediately something is wrong. The apartment has been searched. Not robbed. Searched. Her few valuable possessions are still there. The old television. Her mother's jewelry. But all her paper notes are gone. Hundreds of pages of calculations she'd been doing before she moved work to the church. The backup laptop Mr. Foster loaned her is smashed on the floor. Screen shattered. Hard drive destroyed. Someone was looking for her work. Someone wanted to make sure she couldn't complete the challenge. Police arrive 40 minutes after she calls. 2 different officers this time. They walk through the apartment, take notes. Their body language tells the story before they say anything. "You sure you locked the door?" "No signs of forced entry." "Maybe you forgot. Do you have any enemies? Anyone want to hurt you?" Maya explains about the viral challenge, the death threats, the harassment. The officers exchange glances. "Look, Mom. Well, file a report. But honestly, this looks like opportunistic theft. You've been on the news. People know you're not home much. Thieves probably saw an opportunity. The broken computer is just vandalism. Well, look into it, but don't expect much. Do you have insurance?" She doesn't. One officer adds, "Maybe this is a sign you should reconsider this whole math challenge thing. Seems like it's causing you a lot of trouble." She recognizes the tone. Victim blaming disguised as concern. "This is your fault for being visible. Your fault for challenging a powerful white man. Your fault for not staying in your place." News of the break-in spreads through the neighborhood by morning. In communities like this, information travels fast. Everyone knows someone who knows someone. By 8 a.m., people start showing up at the church community room. Families Maya tutored. Parents whose kids she helped with homework. Neighbors who just know what it means when the system tries to break you down. They don't all understand mathematics or viral challenges or academic politics. But they understand this. They understand a black woman trying to rise, getting pushed back down. They understand theft and intimidation, and police who don't help. They understand that this is bigger than one person. This is every time someone tried to stop them from succeeding. Every promotion denied. Every loan rejected. Every opportunity closed. Every dream deferred. By noon, there are 20 people crammed into the community room, helping Maya reconstruct her work. She describes what she remembers from the stolen notes. People transcribe. A local artist named James, a young brother who does murals around the neighborhood. Sketches, diagrams, she describes. It's inefficient. It's imperfect, but it's beautiful in a way institutional mathematics never is. This is collective resistance. This is community saying, we see you, we believe you, we will not let them erase you. Mrs. Washington brings her church ladies. They don't know math, but they know organization. They set up shifts, make sure Maya eats every 4 hours, force her to sleep, manage the door so she's not interrupted. Mr. Foster brings his advanced calculus students. They can't help with the graduate-level topology, but they can check arithmetic, verify basic calculations. Free Maya to focus on the complex reasoning. It's democracy in action. It's what genius looks like when it's not locked behind ivory tower walls. A white man in his 50s appears at the church that afternoon. Hess nervous, out of place in this neighborhood, clearly uncomfortable. He introduces himself as Dr. Richard Morrison, Professor Emeritus from Boston University. He followed Maya's story online. Something about the mathematics she described triggered a memory. Years ago, he mentored a young black student named Marcus Webb at a summer program. Marcus was exploring similar ideas. After Marcus died, his family gave Dr. Morrison some of his personal notebooks. He never knew what to do with them. The mathematics was beyond his expertise. He kept them out of respect, out of sense that they mattered somehow. Then he saw Maya's interview clips, heard her describing her approach. He recognized Marcus' work. He brought the notebooks. Maya opens them with shaking hands. Marcus' handwriting is careful, precise. His thinking laid out in neat, logical steps. She reads, and it's like hearing someone speaking her language, someone she never met, separated by years and tragedy, but thinking the same thoughts, finding the same hidden connections in mathematical structures, seeing the same elegant truth. Marcus had worked out portions of the approach she's rediscovering. Not identical, but parallel. Two brilliant minds following similar paths to similar insights. It's heartbreaking validation. Proof that she's not crazy, not wrong, not reaching beyond her capabilities. If Marcus saw it and she sees it, then it's real. Dr. Morrison explains that Marcus was excited about presenting his ideas at Vincent Harlow's diversity workshop. He thought it might lead to collaboration, publication, recognition. Instead, he died 3 months later. Dr. Morrison never made the connection until now. Never realized that Harlow's later work used Marcus' insights. He feels ashamed for not seeing it sooner, not protecting his student's legacy. He offers to testify about the theft if Maya needs him, offers to help however he can. This is his penance for being blind. With Marcus' notebooks as confirmation and inspiration, Maya's work accelerates dramatically. She sees the full architecture of the solution now. The problem Harlow designed has an elegant resolution that bypasses his intended approach entirely. It uses a synthesis of algebraic topology and differential geometry that's so clear, so simple once you see it. It's almost laughable that Harlow missed it. But he missed it because of arrogance. He assumed massive computational resources would be necessary. He assumed institutional infrastructure was required. He never considered that genius doesn't need permission or credentials or wealth. It just needs truth, and the courage to follow it wherever it leads. Maya works through the night, through the next day. Mr. Foster's laptop is set up. Someone donated a printer. The church Wi-Fi is slow but functional. By dawn of day 6, she has it. Complete solution. Every step documented. Every logical connection verified. It's airtight. It's revolutionary. It's hers. But having the solution isn't enough. Maya knows the mathematics is correct. Marcus' approach confirmed her insights. Dr. Morrison verified the underlying logic. Dr. Chen reviewed portions remotely. But the mathematical community won't accept work from a black waitress without institutional affiliation. Academic papers have formats. They have institutional letterheads. They have peer review processes involving established journals and recognized experts. Maya has none of that infrastructure. She has church Wi-Fi and community support. Dr. Chen suggests submitting through MIT as a visiting scholar, but that requires paperwork, approvals, bureaucratic processes that take weeks minimum. Maya has less than 2 days. Dr. Morrison offers Boston University sponsorship. Same problem. Same delays. Sarah Kim proposes something radical, something that could either work brilliantly or destroy Maya's credibility completely. Submit everything to RXiv, the open-access preprint server. Make it completely public. No gatekeepers. No institutional barriers. No editors deciding whose mathematics matters. Just raw work available to anyone who wants to evaluate it. Let the mathematics speak for itself. Pure democratic evaluation by the global community of mathematicians. It's risky. Institutional academics sometimes dismiss RXiv papers as unvetted, but it's also the fastest way to get her work seen by thousands of mathematicians simultaneously. As Maya prepares her final document, formatting the proof with proper notation and clear explanations, her email pings. New message from an unfamiliar address at the Harlow Research Foundation. She opens it. The sender identifies himself as Michael Brennan, director of the Foundation's Board of Trustees. The message is brief and chilling. Miss Richardson, the board has conducted an internal review of recent allegations regarding Dr. Harlow's work. We're requesting you withdraw your challenge and sign a non-disclosure agreement. In exchange, the Foundation will provide you with $250,000 to be paid immediately upon signing. This resolves all disputes and allows all parties to move forward. Please respond within 24 hours. The message is professionally written, legally careful, but Maya understands exactly what it means. They know Harlow is guilty. They found evidence of the theft from Marcus and probably others, but they'd rather pay her off than let this destroy their prestigious institution's reputation. It's hush money disguised as generosity. It's blood money. It's the price they're willing to pay to keep systematic racism hidden. Maya sits in the church community room staring at the $250,000 offer on the laptop screen. It's more money than she's seen in her entire life combined. It could erase her mother's medical debt completely, could give her stability for years, could let her breathe without the constant weight of poverty crushing her chest. The Foundation's lawyer, a woman named Rebecca Harrison, follows up with a phone call 30 minutes later. Miss Richardson, I want to be direct with you. If you continue with this challenge, the Foundation will use every resource at its disposal to destroy your credibility. Well, investigate every aspect of your past. Well, find anything embarrassing, anything questionable, anything we can use. Well, paint you as an opportunist, seeking attention and money. Well, make your life extremely difficult. But if you take this settlement and sign the NDA, everyone moves on. You get financial security. Dr. Harlow retires quietly. Nobody gets hurt. Think about what's best for your future. You have 12 hours to decide. Maya sits surrounded by the people who helped her. Mrs. Washington is there, knitting a scarf for her grandson. Mr. Foster is grading papers in the corner. Some of the kids who come for after-school help are doing homework at another table. James is sketching in his notebook, working on ideas for a new mural. These are her people, her community. They didn't help her so she could take hush money. They helped her because they believe in justice, in truth, in the possibility that fighting back might actually work sometimes. She thinks about Marcus Webb, about how he never got the chance to say no to being erased, about how his silence wasn't a choice, about how her silence would make his death mean nothing. She makes her decision. She calls Rebecca Harrison back. Tell your board I decline. Tell them I'm going public with everything. Tell them I hope they're ready for the consequences. Maya schedules a press conference at the church for the next morning. Dr. Patricia Chen flies in from Boston. Dr. Richard Morrison drives up from Boston University. Sarah Kim takes a personal day from her teaching position. They stand beside Maya as she faces cameras and reporters and the weight of public judgment. She presents everything methodically and without drama. First, her complete solution to Harlow's challenge problem. She walks through the key insights, explains the approach, shows how it works. She uploads the full paper to RXiv simultaneously. making it available to any mathematician in the world who wants to verify her work. Second, Marcus Webb's notebooks, showing the original ideas Harlow stole. She displays the dated pages, the handwritten calculations, the timeline. Dr. Morrison provides testimony about Marcus' brilliance, about the workshop, about the suspicious timing. Third, the pattern of harassment, legal threats, break-ins, attempts to silence her. She shows the cease and desist letter, describes the break-in, reads excerpts from the most vicious death threats with their racial slurs visible to everyone. Fourth, the bribe offer from Harlow's foundation trying to buy her silence. She reads the email verbatim. The offer, the threats, the calculated strategy to protect a guilty man. The response begins immediately. Within 1 hour of her press conference ending, mathematicians around the world start downloading her archive paper. Within 3 hours, verification begins flooding in through academic channels, social media, email chains between researchers. Her solution is correct, more than correct. It's groundbreakingly elegant. It opens new pathways in topological research that people didn't know existed. Graduate students can understand it. It's teachable in a way that will influence mathematics education for decades. The insights are profound yet accessible. This is what genius looks like when it's not obscured by institutional gatekeeping and deliberate complexity designed to exclude outsiders. Within 6 hours, her paper has been downloaded 12,000 times. Within 12 hours, prominent mathematicians are calling it one of the most important contributions to the field in 20 years. The mathematical community's response splits along predictable and depressing lines. Established white male mathematicians, especially those connected to Harlow or similar institutions, initially dismiss or nitpick her work. They question her credentials, suggest she had unauthorized help, claim the solution is too simple to be rigorous, argue that proper peer review takes months, and archive papers shouldn't be trusted. But younger mathematicians, women, people of color, recognize the validity and importance immediately. They verify independently, show their work, challenge the establishment figures publicly. Social media becomes a battlefield of verification, with each side showing calculations, pointing out errors or confirming accuracy. But mathematics has an ultimate democracy that even racism can't fully corrupt. Truth. You can verify proofs yourself. Anyone with sufficient training can check the logical steps, confirm the calculations, test the conclusions. By the end of day 6, even Harlow's allies can't deny it. Maya solved his impossible problem. She did it without institutional support. She did it under threat and harassment. She did it while homeless from being fired, while her apartment was broken into, while death threats filled her phone. And her solution is better than anything Harlow could have imagined. More elegant, more powerful, more beautiful. The hashtag evolves beyond the original viral moment. Number Maya theorems begins trending as mathematicians start naming her key insights. The Richardson transform. The Richardson Webb approach, in honor of Marcus. Young black students post videos saying they want to study mathematics now. This is what representation looks like. This is why it matters. White students post acknowledgments of the structural racism in academia they'd never noticed before. Some are genuine, some are performative. But the conversation shifts. This isn't just about one challenge between a waitress and a billionaire. This is about systematic exclusion of brilliance based on race, about theft of intellectual labor, about who gets to be called genius in America. Vincent Harlow's foundation fractures from internal chaos. Board members start resigning within hours of Maya's press conference. 3 resign by email that same evening. 2 more the next morning. Major donors demand emergency meetings, threaten to pull funding, insist on independent investigations. The prestigious journal that published Harlow's Kaufman-Reynolds proof issues a formal notice of concern, the first step toward possible retraction. They're reviewing all his publications now. Most devastatingly for Harlow's reputation, 3 former research assistants come forward. All women of color, all with stories of Harlow taking credit for their ideas, blocking their careers when they objected, forcing them out of mathematics through systematic harassment and professional destruction. One is now a high school teacher. One left academia entirely and works in tech. One struggled with depression for years, convinced she wasn't smart enough for mathematics when the real problem was being mentored by a thief. They kept silent because speaking up meant ending their careers. Watching Maya's courage made them brave. The pattern is undeniable now. 2 decades of theft and abuse. 2 decades of stealing from brilliant minds while positioning himself as a champion of diversity. On the 7th day, hours before Maya's original deadline expires, Vincent Harlow releases a video statement from his home office. Expensive books behind him. Degrees on the wall. Every prop of authority carefully arranged. But instead of conceding gracefully or apologizing, he does something unexpected and terrifying. He announces he's suing Maya Richardson for defamation and conspiracy to damage his reputation. He claims her accusations about Marcus Webb are false and malicious. He produces an affidavit from Marcus' former department chair at Morehouse stating that Marcus' work was preliminary and non-rigorous, not worthy of publication or credit. He claims Maya is being manipulated by his academic rivals who want to destroy him. He frames himself as a victim of reverse racism, of political correctness, of activists who hate successful white men. His legal team filed papers that morning. The lawsuit seeks $10 million in damages. He has unlimited resources for litigation. Maya just proved her genius to the world, but she's about to be buried under legal warfare. The victory celebration dies instantly. Maya stands in the church community room holding a printed copy of the lawsuit papers. And reality crashes down. She's about to lose everything in a different way. The lawsuit papers arrive via process server at the church, while Maya is being interviewed by a local news station. The server is apologetic but thorough. "Maya Richardson?" She nods. "You've been served." The papers are 800 pages thick, bound in legal folders, heavy with the weight of institutional power. Harlow's attorneys are from Sterling, Preston, and Abernathy, a white-shoe Manhattan firm that specializes in protecting wealthy clients from consequences. The lawsuit names Maya as primary defendant, but also Dr. Patricia Chen, Dr. Richard Morrison, and Sarah Kim as co-conspirators in a defamation campaign. The strategy is transparent and brutal. Drown them in legal complexity until they break. Force them to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on defense. Drag the process out for years. Make fighting back more expensive than surrendering. None of them can afford sustained litigation against functionally unlimited resources. The legal fees alone will destroy their lives even if they eventually win. Local news coverage shifts tone immediately. What was a story about genius and justice becomes a legal controversy too complex for sound bites. Both sides have accusations. Who's telling the truth? Responsible journalism requires presenting both perspectives equally. Never mind that one side has mathematical proof and documented evidence while the other has lawyers and money. The framing becomes, he said, she said. National media loses interest as the story transforms from viral feel-good David versus Goliath into technical legal disputes about discovery rules and defamation standards. The initial energy dissipates. People move on to the next viral moment. Maya's inbox, which was flooded with support messages 2 days ago, slows to a trickle. The harsh reality of American attention spans. The mathematical community's vocal support quiets. People have careers to protect, grants to secure, institutional relationships to maintain. Speaking up for Maya publicly means potentially becoming a target themselves. Harlow still has powerful friends. He still controls funding streams. He can still hurt people professionally. The silence is deafening and damning. Even Sarah Kim faces pressure from her department chair at her university. She's untenured, vulnerable. Her chair calls her into his office. "Sarah, I need to advise you to distance yourself from this situation. The university can't be seen as taking sides in active litigation. If you continue, it could affect your tenure review. Think about your future." She's forced to choose between her conscience and her survival. She chooses conscience but knows the cost will be high. Conservative media seizes the story gleefully as evidence of everything they claim about American culture. Cancel culture is destroying great men based on unfounded accusations. This is what happens when diversity and inclusion replace merit. Harlow is a victim of reverse racism, and political correctness run amok. They don't mention Marcus Webb. They don't mention Maya's proof. They don't mention the pattern of theft. They create an alternate narrative where a successful white man is being torn down by activists who hate excellence. Liberal media moves on because they exhausted the story already, used up the viral emotional content, got their traffic. Now it's complicated legal stuff without clear heroes or villains anymore. Maya becomes isolated in exactly the way the system is designed to isolate resistors. The community support remains strong locally, but nationally, she's been forgotten or actively opposed. The online harassment intensifies because the people who wanted her destroyed from the beginning now feel vindicated. See, they knew she was a fraud, knew she was just looking for attention and money, knew she'd get exposed eventually. Someone creates a deep-fake video of her admitting to making everything up. It spreads faster than fact-checkers can debunk it. Her social media accounts get suspended for suspicious activity after coordinated reporting campaigns. Her digital voice is silenced. The church community room, her sanctuary for 6 days of intense work, receives anonymous threats. Emails warning that supporting Maya puts the congregation at risk. Phone calls threatening violence if she continues using their space. Reverend James Thompson, a good man who genuinely believes in justice, calls Maya into his office. Hes torn, visibly struggling. Maya, I believe in you. This church believes in you. But I have to think about the safety of our congregation. We have children here for after-school programs, elderly members who depend on this space. I can't put them at risk. I'm so sorry, but I think it's best if you work somewhere else. She understands completely. She doesn't blame him. She knows what it's like to have to make impossible choices between principles and survival. But it breaks something in her regardless. She's alone again. Just like after MIT. Just like after her mother died. The brief moment of community and support is over. The system always wins. The powerful always crush resistance eventually. That's how it stays powerful. Maya learns through her public defender, the only lawyer she can access, that defending against the defamation lawsuit will cost at least $300,000 minimum just for initial motions and discovery. The full trial could run into millions depending on how long Harlow's team drags it out. She has $1,400 in her bank account. Everything else went to bills and the debt from her mother's illness. Pro bono lawyers contacted her initially, excited by the attention and righteous cause. But when they realized they'd be facing Sterling, Preston, and Abernathy, they all found reasons to decline. That firm crushes opposition through procedural warfare, filing endless motions, demanding extensive discovery, objecting to everything, making the process so expensive and exhausting that even well-funded defendants struggle. Pro bono lawyers can't sustain that. They'd be destroyed professionally. Legal aid organizations explain they can't help with defamation suits. They're reserved for housing cases, family law, criminal defense. A GoFundMe campaign launched by supporters raises $63,000 in the first week. Then it's mysteriously frozen due to terms of service violations. The platform claims suspicious activity. Want specify what? Want restore access. Maya suspects Harlow's lawyers found a way to shut it down. She considers bankruptcy, hoping it might protect her. Her public defender explains that bankruptcy won't discharge judgment debt from a successful lawsuit. If Harlow wins, she'll owe that money forever. Garnished wages for the rest of her life. She's trapped in a legal cage with no exit visible. In her darkest moment, sitting alone in her tiny apartment surrounded by lawsuit papers she can't afford to fight, Maya receives a certified letter. The return address is from a law firm in Atlanta she doesn't recognize. Inside is a letter from an estate attorney named Robert Chen. No relation to Dr. Patricia Chen. The letter explains that Marcus Webb's grandmother, Dorothy Webb, recently passed away at age 89. Before her death, she established a trust specifically designated for legal defense against those who silence black brilliance. Mrs. Webb had been following Maya's story obsessively. She couldn't save her grandson, but maybe she could help another young black mathematician fighting the same systems that destroyed Marcus. The trust contains $500,000. All of it is available immediately to Maya for legal defense, living expenses, anything she needs to fight back. The only condition is that if any money remains after her case concludes, It should be used to help other young black students facing similar battles. Enclosed with the legal documents is a second letter, handwritten on floral stationery in shaky script. Dorothy Webb wrote it 2 weeks before she died. Dear Maya, though we've never met, I feel like I know you. You have my Marcus spirit. His brilliance, his courage to see truth, even when powerful people want it hidden. When Marcus died, part of me died too. I never understood his mathematics. I was a cafeteria worker my whole life, but I understood he was special. I understood the world tried to take his light and succeeded. I couldn't save him. But maybe, with what I've saved over my lifetime, I can help you. Make them see us, baby. Make them see all the black minds they tried to erase. Make them pay for what they did to my grandson. You're carrying his work now. You're carrying all of us. Don't you dare let them win. With love and hope, Dorothy Webb. Maya breaks down crying, holding a dead woman's belief in her, feeling the weight of generations of stolen genius pressing down on her shoulders and simultaneously holding her up. With Dorothy Webb's trust fund secured, Maya hires Jasmine Okafor, a civil rights attorney who built her formidable reputation, fighting institutional racism in federal courts. Jasmine is a black woman in her mid-40s, originally from Lagos, educated at Howard and Yale Law. She's fierce, strategic, and expensive. She takes Maya's case, not despite the difficulty, but because of it. This is the kind of precedent-setting fight that changes systems. Jasmine immediately files for extensive discovery, subpoenaing all of Vincent Harlow's research records, emails, meeting notes, and correspondence for the past 20 years. Harlow's foundation fights it aggressively through every procedural channel available. They claim academic freedom. They claim privacy concerns. They claim the requests are overly broad and harassing. But Judge Patricia Brennan, assigned to the case, is a white woman in her 60s with a reputation for cutting through nonsense. She grants partial discovery. Limited access, but enough to be devastating. What emerges from those files is worse than anyone imagined. Email chains showing Harlow discussing Marcus Webb's breakthrough ideas with colleagues just weeks after Marcus died, never once mentioning Marcus' name or contribution. Draft papers, where original attribution to Marcus was present in early versions, then systematically deleted in later revisions. Calendar entries showing meetings with other young researchers of color, particularly those without strong institutional backing or mentors. Correspondence with journal editors suggesting certain papers by minority authors weren't rigorous enough to publish, freeing up those ideas for Harlow's own later use. A pattern so clear and systematic it's shocking it was never discovered before. Or maybe people just didn't want to look. Maybe willful blindness is easier than confronting how deeply racism permeates even supposedly objective fields like mathematics. Jasmine builds the case methodically. Every piece of evidence documented and cross-referenced, building a timeline that's irrefutable. The preliminary hearing takes place on a cold February morning in Providence Federal Court. The courtroom is packed with media, mathematicians, activists, and curiosity seekers. Harlow's legal team is led by Dennis Crawford, a partner at Sterling, Preston, and Abernathy, who made his name defending pharmaceutical companies and banks. Has mid-50s, silver-haired, $6,000 suit, perfect performance of wounded dignity. He argues that Maya's accusations are vague, unsupported by concrete evidence, and designed solely to gain attention and destroy an accomplished scientist's reputation. He presents Harlow's credentials, meticulously: 3 honorary doctorates, fellowship in the National Academy of Sciences, testimonials from Nobel laureates praising his integrity, published papers cited thousands of times, charitable donations exceeding $2 million over his career, awards from institutions around the world. He builds the portrait of a man who dedicated his life to mathematics and mentoring, now being destroyed by unfounded allegations from someone bitter about her own failures. Jasmine Okafor stands to present Maya's case, and her opening is devastatingly calm. Your Honor, the defense will show through documentary evidence, expert testimony, and pattern analysis that Dr. Vincent Harlow engaged in systematic intellectual property theft, targeting young mathematicians of color over a 20-year period. This isn't about one incident. This is about a predatory pattern enabled by institutional racism and protected by the very prestige the plaintiff claims as his defense. She calls witnesses methodically. Dr. Richard Morrison testifies about Marcus Webb's brilliance, about the workshop, about the timeline between Marcus' death and Harlow's breakthrough publication. He brings Marcus' original notebooks, now authenticated by forensic document analysis, confirming the dates. He walks through the mathematical connections between Marcus' work and Harlow's published proof. The overlap is undeniable. Then Jasmine calls the 3 former research assistants who came forward during the initial viral story. Dr. Keisha Williams, now teaching high school in Baltimore, testifies about working with Harlow as a doctoral student. She developed an innovative approach to manifold classification. 3 months later, Harlow published a paper using her approach with no credit. When she confronted him, he told her she was being oversensitive and ungrateful. He tanked her dissertation defense, forced her out of the program. Dr. Amara Okonkwo, who left academia for tech, describes a similar pattern. Her insights on topological invariance appeared in Harlow's work. He told her she misunderstood academic collaboration, that ideas evolved in conversation and couldn't be attributed to individuals. When she persisted, he made her life impossible. Bad recommendations, blocked job applications, destroyed her professionally. Dr. Lin Chen, who struggled with depression for years, breaks down crying on the stand, describing how Harlow convinced her she wasn't smart enough for mathematics when in reality, he was stealing her ideas systematically. The testimony is devastating not just in content but in pattern. 3 women, 3 different years, same behavior, same theft, same destruction of careers when they objected. Vincent Harlow takes the stand in his own defense, confident this will restore his reputation. Dennis Crawford leads him through friendly questions designed to showcase his accomplishments and character. Harlow is polished, eloquent, performs wounded dignity perfectly. He claims he doesn't remember specific interactions with Marcus Webb beyond general mentorship at the workshop, says collaboration in mathematics is inherently complex, that ideas blend together through discourse, that attribution is sometimes unclear in good faith academic exchange. He admits no wrongdoing, positions himself as a victim of political correctness and activists trying to tear down accomplished white men. He mentions his diversity initiatives, his mentorship of underrepresented students, his public commitment to inclusion. But under cross-examination, Jasmine Okafor dismantles him surgically. She shows him Marcus' notebook with specific dated entries, asks him to explain the innovations. He struggles, uses vague language, falls back on generalities. She asks why he never mentioned Marcus in his papers, not even in acknowledgments. He says it didn't seem relevant, that Marcus' work was preliminary. She produces emails proving Harlow discussed Marcus' specific breakthrough with colleagues. He claims he doesn't remember those emails. She asks if he'd be equally forgetful if Marcus had been white and from Harvard. He bristles, denies racism. But the jury sees the discomfort and evasion. She walks him through each of the 3 research assistants' testimonies. He claims they're misremembering, exaggerating, conspiring. She produces his own emails containing their ideas nearly verbatim in his later papers. He has no good answers. His arrogance cracks into anger, then defensiveness, then barely concealed contempt for being questioned by a black woman lawyer. Just as the hearing approaches its conclusion, Jasmine calls one final surprise witness. A white woman in her early 40s walks to the stand, professional attire, nervous but determined. She introduces herself as Dr. Jennifer Hartley, former graduate student of Vincent Harlow from 20 years ago. She testifies that Harlow sexually harassed her repeatedly during her doctoral program. When she rejected his advances, he began taking credit for her work and undermining her career. Her dissertation research on theoretical topology appears throughout Harlow's subsequent publications with 0 attribution. She kept silent for 2 decades out of fear and shame. Watching Maya's courage finally made her come forward. Her testimony adds a dimension that makes even skeptical observers reconsider everything. This isn't just intellectual theft. This is a pattern of predatory behavior targeting vulnerable people, especially women, especially people of color, exploiting power differentials, and stealing their work when they resist his advances or demands for credit. The courtroom erupts with murmurs and reactions. As Dr. Hartley finishes her testimony, Vincent Harlow suddenly stands up in the middle of court, ignoring his lawyer's attempts to restrain him. "This is a conspiracy," he shouts, voice rising. "You're all conspiring to destroy me because I represent excellence and standards, because I refuse to lower the bar, because I built my reputation through actual hard work, not diversity quotas and victim narratives." Judge Brennan bangs her gavel, demanding order, but Harlow continues ranting about witch hunts, about how mathematics is being destroyed by politics, about how none of these people understand real genius. His lawyers finally get him seated, but the damage is catastrophic. The mask of wounded dignity has shattered completely. The jury just saw entitled rage, the fury of a powerful man facing consequences for the first time. Judge Brennan calls a recess, clearly shaken by the outburst. As the courtroom descends into chaos, reporters rushing to file updates, a law clerk hurries in with urgent breaking news. The Kaufman-Reynolds Conjecture Prize Committee has just announced they're formally rescinding Vincent Harlow's nomination due to questions about the work's originality. Instead, they're nominating Maya Richardson based on her innovative proof approach and groundbreaking insights. The $7 million prize that was supposed to cement Harlow's legacy might go to the black waitress who exposed him. The courtroom chaos intensifies. This is the reversal of power caught in real time. The courtroom descends into absolute chaos. Reporters shout questions, camera flashes pop. Vincent Harlow is escorted out by his attorneys, still protesting, still insisting this is all conspiracy and persecution. Judge Brennan's gavel sounds repeatedly, calling for order that doesn't come. Maya sits at the defense table feeling numb, overwhelmed, unable to fully process what just happened. Jasmine Okafor puts a protective hand on her shoulder. "We're not done yet, but that was a very good day for justice." In the hallway outside the courtroom, media swarms them. Microphones thrust forward. Questions overlapping. "How do you feel? What's next? Do you think you'll win the $7 million? Maya can barely speak. Jasmine shields her, gets her through the crowd to a waiting car. That evening, major news networks lead with the story. But the framing has shifted completely. This isn't both sides anymore. This is serious investigative journalism about stolen genius, institutional racism, and how American systems protect powerful white men while crushing brilliant black women. The narrative has changed irrevocably. Within 48 hours, everything accelerates in ways nobody predicted. Vincent Harlow resigns from his foundation under intense pressure from the board. He releases a statement claiming health issues and desire to focus on personal matters, but everyone knows he was forced out. 3 major universities moved to revoke his honorary degrees, initiating review processes. His published papers face systematic scrutiny from journal editors who suddenly care about verifying sources and attribution. 2 journals issue formal retractions after confirming that key ideas came from students he supervised without proper credit. The National Science Foundation opens an official investigation into research fraud, which could affect millions in grant funding across multiple institutions. More victims start coming forward. Not just former students, but also colleagues, postdocs, visiting scholars. The pattern expands. Harlow wasn't just stealing from vulnerable students of color. He was taking ideas from anyone he perceived as lacking the power to fight back. The mathematical community begins a painful reckoning with how many people knew or suspected but stayed silent. Conference panels form to discuss diversity, gatekeeping, and who gets to be called genius. Committees promise reform. Universities pledge to do better. Maya watches it all with weary skepticism. She's heard promises before. She knows how quickly attention fades and systems reassert themselves. The Kaufman-Reynolds Prize Committee formally offers Maya the $7 million prize at a ceremony in Stockholm. She could accept it, set herself up for life, finally escape the poverty that has defined her existence since her mother got sick. Instead, she makes an announcement that stuns everyone in attendance and watching via live stream. "I'm grateful for this recognition, but I'm refusing the individual prize in its current form," she explains calmly, firmly. "This money represents solving a mathematical problem, but the real problem is systematic exclusion of brilliant minds based on race and class. Taking $7 million personally doesn't solve that. It just makes me the exception that proves the rule." She proposes that the committee restructure the prize as an ongoing endowment, the Maya Richardson Fellowship Program, providing full scholarships specifically for underrepresented students in mathematics. She'll work with them to administer it, serve on the selection committee, ensure it actually helps the next generation. But she'll take no personal money beyond enough to cover her legal costs and pay off her mother's remaining medical debt. The rest, approximately $6 million, goes to making sure what happened to her and Marcus Webb never happens to anyone else again. It's radical wealth redistribution disguised as charity, and it puts the committee in an impossible position. Deny her request and look terrible. Or agree and establish precedent for collective rather than individual recognition. They agree. Maya returns to MIT, not as a visiting scholar or charity case, but as a tenure-track faculty member, recruited aggressively by a department desperate to change its image and culture. Dr. Patricia Chen is her colleague now, not her mentor. Equals working together to transform mathematics education. They co-teach a revolutionary course called Mathematics and Justice, exploring how the field has excluded brilliant minds throughout history and what that exclusion cost human knowledge. The class has a 3-semester waiting list. Students call it the most important course in the department. Sarah Kim leaves her toxic department, where she faced retaliation for supporting Maya. She joins MIT's faculty, bringing expertise in computational topology. The 3 women become a formidable force for change, supporting each other, mentoring students who don't fit traditional molds, creating space for different ways of thinking about mathematics. The church community room, where Maya did her greatest work, becomes a permanent tutoring and enrichment center for neighborhood kids, funded by donations that poured in after her story. Mrs. Dolores Washington runs it with fierce love. Mr. Jamal Foster teaches there 3 evenings a week. It's small, local, and real. Not some corporate diversity initiative, actual community support. Maya doesn't become famous or wealthy in the traditional sense. She becomes something more valuable, free to think, to create, to teach, to lift others without the constant weight of poverty and racism crushing her potential. She publishes papers under her own name now. Some are groundbreaking contributions that other mathematicians cite for decades. Some are solid incremental advances. Some explore ideas that don't quite work but push the field in new directions. All are hers. She mentors students who remind her of herself, kids from poor neighborhoods, first-generation college students, people who don't see themselves reflected in mathematics textbooks or professor directories. She tells them what nobody told her early enough: you belong here. Your perspective matters. Your way of thinking isn't wrong just because it's different. The system will try to break you, but you're stronger than the system knows. 6 months after everything settles into a new normal, Maya receives a package at her MIT office. Plain brown shipping box. No return address. Inside is a flash drive and a handwritten note on plain paper. The handwriting is careful, anonymous, deliberately nondescript. Dr. Richardson, the note begins. I was Vincent Harlow's executive assistant for 8 years. I couldn't speak publicly without destroying my career and my family's security. I have children to feed and no other skills that transfer. But I couldn't stay silent forever. This flash drive contains evidence of 32 other cases where Harlow stole ideas from students and junior colleagues. Most were women. Most were people of color. A few were white men he perceived as weak or disposable. Some left mathematics entirely. Some left academia for other careers. One died by suicide, though I don't know if Harlow's treatment was the cause. I don't know if this evidence can help them now. Many signed NDAs. Many are too afraid to come forward even with proof. But I know this record should exist. Someone should know the full truth. Thank you for being brave enough to win. Maybe now others can come forward. Maybe this can help prevent the next Vincent Harlow. The note is unsigned. Maya sits at her desk, holding the flash drive, looking out her office window at students crossing the MIT campus in early spring sunshine. She thinks about Marcus Webb, dead at 24 with his genius stolen. About Dorothy Webb, cafeteria worker who saved for decades to help a girl she never met. About Dr. Jennifer Hartley, silent for 20 years until courage became contagious. About Keisha Williams, Amara Okonkwo, Lin Chen, and all the others, whose work was taken and whose names were erased. About the 32 new names on this flash drive, about how many others exist that nobody documented. She thinks about how victory isn't an ending but a beginning, how exposing one predator doesn't fix the system that enabled him, how real change requires constant vigilance, constant fighting, constant refusal to be silent. She plugs in the flash drive, opens the files, begins reading. There's work to do. There's always work to do. But for the first time in 6 years, she has the power, the platform, and the support to do it. Not because a system gave her permission, not because institutions decided she was worthy, but because she took that power. Because she refused to be erased. Because she spoke truth when the whole world insisted she had no right to. Because she proved that genius doesn't require credentials, wealth, or institutional blessing. It just needs truth and the courage to speak it, even when speaking costs everything, especially then. The following week, Maya publishes an editorial in Science, describing the contents of the flash drive and calling for systematic reform in how mathematics handles attribution, mentorship, and power differentials. She names Harlow's other victims who gave permission to be named. She protects those who can't risk exposure. She proposes concrete policy changes for universities and journals. The response is predictably mixed. Some praise her courage. Others claim she's on a witch hunt. But the conversation has started in a way that can't be stopped. Other fields begin examining their own luminaries, their own patterns of theft and abuse. Philosophy, physics, computer science, economics. The reckoning spreads, not fast enough, not thoroughly enough, but it spreads. Maya continues teaching. The Richardson Fellowship Program awards its first 20 scholarships. Students from backgrounds like hers, from neighborhoods like hers, from families like hers. Kids who were told they weren't smart enough, or didn't belong, or should be grateful for whatever scraps the system offered. Now they have full funding, mentorship, and a community that believes in them. Some will become brilliant mathematicians. Some will discover mathematics isn't their passion, and that's fine too. All will know their minds matter. All will carry forward the knowledge that excellence doesn't have a race or class or gender. That genius can emerge anywhere when given the chance. Maya Richardson doesn't live happily ever after, in some fairy tale sense. She still faces racism in faculty meetings, still deals with colleagues who question her credentials, still receives hate mail from people who think she destroyed a great man for attention, still struggles with trauma from the harassment, the threats, the violation of her home. But she also experiences something she never had before: agency, power, voice, the ability to shape her own life and help shape others. She looks at herself in the mirror and recognizes the person looking back. Not the invisible waitress, not the failed MIT student. Maya Richardson, mathematician, teacher, fighter. Exactly who she was supposed to become. Exactly who her mother believed she could be. So what do you think? Could you have done what Maya did? Could you have stood up, knowing the cost, knowing the odds, knowing that powerful systems would try to crush you? Have you ever witnessed injustice and stayed silent because fighting seemed impossible? Have you ever had your work stolen or your brilliance dismissed because of who you are rather than what you know? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your story matters. And if this moved you, hit that like button to make sure more people see this. Subscribe so you never miss stories about people who fight back against impossible odds. Share this with someone who needs to know their genius deserves to be seen. Together, we can make sure the next Marcus Webb gets recognized. Together, we can make sure the next Maya Richardson doesn't have to wait 6 years and almost lose everything before her brilliance is acknowledged. Thank you for watching. Thank you for caring. Thank you for believing that truth and courage can still matter in a world designed to silence both. Keep fighting. Keep shining. Keep refusing to be erased. The world needs your light.